How's it going, fishing friends? Today we're actually out at the marina, and I wanted to show you guys some cold weather techniques. Uh-oh. Somebody lost their spectacles. Dude, look at this boat. This is sick. Bahama Mama. Thing's got a freaking grill on it, dude. That is awesome. Alright, so let's go ahead and get on this dock and toss a few different setups. Look at this. This looks kind of sketchy, folks. Is that the only thing holding this dock on right now? It's got a winch thing on it, but I don't know if it's what it's connected to. It's kind of scary. Enough of that. Let's get down here. Maybe we'll be able to get on a fish out here. Who knows, maybe not. Either way, let's see if we can check these out real quick. Alright, so I've got good old blade bait, got a little finesse jig, super giant crankbait I was telling you guys about. We're gonna throw this today. I've actually got this rod set up with a drop shot, the one that's kind of swaying there. Ugly Stick GX2, the loose reel, 10-pound test, I believe. Alright, so then I've got the loose Xfinity speed stick. I've got that set up with the Neko rig hook. That's pretty much all that's on that. And then we've got the good old Ned rig, my Ned rig rod. You guys seen this in my last video, and actually this specific Ned rig, oh shoot. This specific Ned rig right here you guys seen in the last video. Look at that. Look how thrashed it is. That's from all those fish that I caught. Still kicking though. So like I said, that's the finesse setups. Jig here, we got a blade bait, crankbait. We're gonna try to make something happen. If we don't catch anything, at least maybe we'll be able to talk about these techniques, and you guys will be able to use them in the future and be able to get on a fish. It's the back end of the lake. I've never even fished over here really. You know what, guys, I don't even have my chesty on. Let's go ahead and slap that on. We're gonna throw this first. We're about to throw this pretty sick crankbait here. See if we can work some different techniques. I guess we can just start out tossing out here. So what we're gonna do here, we're just gonna toss it out as far as we can, and I'll show you guys some different techniques. Of course, the first thing you can do with the crankbait is just steadily reel it, get you a good retrieve, you know, a steady pace going, and just retrieve at that speed the whole time. Just keep rolling it, roll it all the way back. This thing gets deep, folks. Okay, you can actually do this. You're gonna reel it up, dig it down a bit, and then just let it go. Get some depth, stop it, just wait for it to rock its way back up. You know, after you watch it for a little while, you'll know exactly how long it's going to take for so many reels, how long it's going to take for it to come back up. So there we go, just a few more turns, letting it sit. It's still under there. You can pick it back up while it's deep to stay in the strike zone longer. Alright. Same game, let's try that again. Roll it a bit, stop it, we'll give it 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, pick it back up, stop it. 3, 2, 1, pick it back up. It's just slowly rising, guys. I wish you guys could hear that. It's got a really cool sound underwater. Man, this thing digs. I like this crankbait, dude. This is probably like a 20-something-year-old crankbait. And it's got some good performance. Get an okay cast with it, I guess. Alright. Well, that's going to be it for the crankbait here. If I'm doing well with square bills, or if I'm doing well with this, I kind of switch between the two if I'm doing well on one or the other. This is a 1/2 ounce blade bait, Johnson Thin Fisher. I've got it on 50-pound braid, I believe. That's the whole setup right there. Get out here, see what we can make happen.
I think I told you guys before, same thing as crappie jigs and the Ned rig, or one of the techniques that I fish with those baits. I'll toss it out there and just get a long toss, let it fall for a bit, and then just lift it. Let it fall, pick up that slack, lift it. And that's pretty much all I do for this bait, guys. This is a really simple bait to fish. And in the wintertime, it can be pretty friggin' deadly. Sorry guys, I didn't realize the light was so crappy with my chesty here. Yeah, same thing, just lift with this. A lot of times you'll catch them, you'll lift it, and then they'll fall, and they'll hit it on the fall. You lift it, and there'll be a fish on. Sometimes it helps to work it with a little bit of vigor. That way, whenever you're lifting up, you can get a good set. Lift, just pick up that slack. Simple, guys. This is an easy bait to work. Anyway, so throw it out there, lift it, and then start picking it up with your reel instead. And just roll it. Figured I'd tighten the wobble up for winter time. I normally just fish it on the middle notch or the middle hole. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about.
It's got that little clip, and there's little holes right there. You can put this clip in one of those other holes, and it will actually change how wide it wobbles. I think for the front, it gives it a really fast wobble. Closer in the back, it's really wide.
That's one thing about this. You can change the action up a little bit. You can fish it a couple different ways. This bait is an awesome shad imitator. Now we're going to throw a little finesse jig on 10-pound test. This is the same setup that I was using for the jerk bait the other day. We got this finesse jig.
Okay, you guys. For some reason, my camera's deciding to turn itself off. I'm going to have to check that out. But for now, you guys, I've got a watermelon red, I think it's some kind of Zoom crawl trailer, a little bitsy bug, finesse jig. This is a smaller jig, and so it sinks slower, but it's more sensitive to me. If you're fishing smaller jigs, I feel like the bite detection is just highly increased.
Wintertime, colder seasons like right now, I like to throw it out there and let it sit for a long time, maybe like 5 minutes sometimes. Just let it sit. Anyway, so like I was saying, I like to throw that jig or that crawl, like if I'm flipping a crawl on a T-rig or if I'm throwing the jig, I like to throw it out, let it sit for a minute, and then when I pick it up, I'll just, you guys, try to show you with my rod, just kind of work it really slow. Let's see if I can show you guys the rod tip here. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I'm kind of just doing short hops, like dragging it almost. Really short hops, just let it drag. Depending on how fast you want to work it, you can do some pretty big hops and then let it sit for a minute. Most of the time when I'm fishing the jig though, I like to do really short ones like this. Just fishing the bottom, staying in very close contact with the bottom. It's hardly leaving the bottom actually, if at all, to be honest. So I'm more or less just dragging it. And that's how I like to fish jigs. In the warmer months, when the fish are more aggressive, I'll toss it out there and just rip it up a little bit, let it fall, pick up that slack, rip it up again, or even just pop, let it go back, pop. But like I said, wintertime, when it gets colder and you're fishing slower presentations, and you know, a lot of baits you're fishing slower. A dirt bottom, not so much moss or grass or anything like that. So in those areas, you can absolutely, instead of hopping it this time, just honestly, just slow drag it. You can probably even reel it, just very slow reeling. Let's talk about a different bait. All we got left are the Ned rig, the drop shot, and the Neko rig.
You guys have seen the the Ned rig plenty of times, so I'm not super stressing on that one. I just, son of a gun. We got a drop shot here. Let's go ahead and grab a worm. Plastic here. This ribbon tail, this is a tequila sign. It's kind of dirty. Some people run it differently. This is how I've had luck. Sorry. This is how I've actually ran it to catch my fish. There's different ways to set it up. You can actually hook it. I've seen folks do it like this. I've only really fished it like this.
It has a few different ways you can fish it. Sling it out. That's it. All right, it's on the bottom now. So then you can pick up your slack. Now the most important thing about the drop shot is maintaining bottom contact with that weight. That's the whole point of it. Otherwise you can fish any old other setup. This is to keep you low at the exact depth that you set it. And you can move this bait. You can hop it so long as you're maintaining general contact with the bottom. You know where the bottom's at. One technique that I like to use, feel your the tension on your line, and so all you do is just kind of let it down, let some slack in it, and lift it back up, get some of that tension. You don't want to pull it too tight and hop your bait off, you know, hop your weight off the bottom, but this just makes it to where it has a little bit of a fluttery action, and you really don't have to do much with the drop shot. Matter of fact, sometimes I like to toss it out and then bam, just let it sit there. Like my daughter Rhea says, bam. And you'd be surprised, folks, that do nothing bait right there can catch a fish.
Let's go ahead and break out this Neko rig and talk about it real quick. So you got your hook right here. You got your Neko rigged, nail weighted worm, sorry. And the way I like to do it, some people do it differently. Some people run it like a wacky rig, just straight that way. Some people run it with the hook this way. I like to run it with the hook coming out of the back, facing the back. So that when you're working it, most of the time the head's down like this. So that just makes, you know, yeah, it just makes more sense to me. That's how I like to work my Neko, or that's how I like to rig my Neko. Let's toss it out there and I'll show you guys how I work it.
Look at that, you can see that channel running through there. So the Neko rig doesn't have a lot of weight on it, so don't expect to cast it a country mile and then just do some short hops. And basically what it's gonna do, it's gonna make that bait stand up on its head, you know, the nail weight stands up on its head, and then when you're working it, those short hops, it's just gonna make it do this. And what that does is it basically mimics, oh my gosh, it mimics or imitates a bait fish or something just pecking stuff off the bottom. So like I was saying, just short hops. This is another like the Ned rig. A lot of times when they eat this bait, they don't just smash it and go. All you got to do is just let it down. That's all you got to do to set the hook right there. Short. You don't have to rip it. You just kind of lean the rod tip into it. Just sweep set is what a lot of folks call it. Reel set or a sweep set. A lot of times I do reel sets when I want to set the hook faster. Like if for some reason I have to set the hook faster but I don't want to rip it down on them, reel sets are the way to go. Alright, well, we talked about the Neko. That's really the only way that I fish it. I just keep it on the bottom and hop it along.
Hope you guys enjoyed watching, learning a few tips about these baits. We're gonna get up out of here, see if we can find somewhere to make some tosses and actually get on some fish with some of these techniques. I don't really come out to the marina very much. I hope you guys learned something, maybe you figured some crap out you didn't know already. If you did, go ahead and like this video and give me a subscribe, and I'll bring you some more tips and techniques and all that stuff as soon as I can. Stick around if you guys want to watch some more of my tips, tricks, techniques, tackle talk videos. It's a lot of T words there. But thanks again for watching, guys. I'm gonna go out, see if I can catch some fish. All these freaking setups, it's a ridiculous amount of rods. Yeah, have a good one. This sailboat belongs to Sea Scout Ship 271 and is sponsored by Hugo Marina. Huh. Okay, well thank you guys for watching another episode of Fishing with JamtheMan. Maybe you guys learned a little bit about some techniques. I'm actually heading out. My camera's about to die. So thanks again. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time. JamtheMan out.